Now, what about if somebody has some sensors, they need more sensors, you're coming in, but can you tap into other systems? How does that work?
Beautiful question. So depends on the system. A lot of OEMs have black boxes. So if you're trying to pull it from the PLC, it's impossible. But what you can do, depending on the sensor, is you can duplicate the signal. And so if they're already running a PSI and a temperature and a flow, I can piggyback off that signal, split it. Half of it goes into the OEM piece of equipment and goes into that PLC. The other half comes to me, goes up to the cloud. So you have two forms of prediction and preventive maintenance.
Okay, so the Ops IQ, is there anything, just before we move on to anything else, is there anything else that should be covered that people should know, expectations that people should have of it?
Yeah, so just a little bit deeper, I guess, on the control function. So when we started developing this power unit, we just keep evolving it and making it better and making it better. So now we have closed side setting readings at all times. So instead of guessing where your machine is at and where your crush size is, it'll now tell you exactly what it is on any legacy equipment. So again, you can buy a new piece of equipment that has that in it, but you can also adapt an L&H system and get the same thing on a 70-year-old piece of equipment.
So you mentioned that you bought Ops IQ. Has L&H done other acquisitions over the last few years to sort of keep rounding out those services they're offering, or even other new industries?
Yeah, so we just started a new company called Evercore as well. And our group and our ownership is looking at the energy concerns around the nation, and we're trying to find a solution. The customer needs any emission monitoring, if they want to find any of their CO2 footprint and actually what's happening. And then also, if they're looking just for energy output, how much does this piece of equipment take for energy? I mean, a lot of the old plants have old equipment. So you have to retract that, see that, be able to get your footprint, which then says, hey, I need this much for that reactor. Hey, customers, this is what you will be saving, and this is how much CO2 emissions I'm not going to be emitting. So it's a different direction in L&H.
So was this an acquisition, or you founded the company ground up?
Founded.
Okay. And is it fully in the market yet? Where's sort of the stage at?
It's small modular nuclear reactors are a little on the early side. It's anticipated by 2029 to 2030, the first couple will be deployed. So it's early in the grand schemes of getting a reactor deployed. It's the right time in the game for being able to supply nuclear reactors.
Right.
And the monitoring
to
see if a customer is even interested, and if because really it's all of the customers' decisions to change their emissions output are being driven by the customers. So whatever this is, I'm not going to buy it unless it's emission free.
Right.
That's when we come in and say, hey, we're going to check how much emissions you really have. This is your power output. This is what your nuclear reactor needs to be able to power this facility. And yeah.
The go-to-market, has that been, you must have a lot, I mean, you've been around so long that the clients, is it a lot of it just about reaching out to them? Obviously, things like our show and this, Meinen Expo and that, but what about just that network that, I mean, L&H has a huge network. Has that been quite well received by people? All of a sudden, hey, we're in this space now, we're doing it.
People love it. This show is it's relatively a new invention to L&H. But this show is really bringing a lot of attention to it, and being able to show all the customers live saying, this is what it is, this is how it works, is unbelievable as far as the feedback.
You're getting good feedback.
Everybody loves it. Everybody's excited. Everybody wants to engage it.
Yeah, it's one thing to talk about it, but when you can physically show them on an iPad or a phone, like, this is how simple it is.
Exactly.
And the power that you can have it on your cell phone, goes a long way.
Well, like I said, it's such an advantage that you're on the hardware side, of heavy industry already. So now it's like this nice tack on when you're coming at it. We've had some great companies that have coming at it from just like the software solution to that, and they're amazing. But I do find with those interviews, there's a limit to how deep we can go with certain topics, because eventually it gets into the physical world, and then, it's a data collection, not necessarily how that data converts to the physical demand that's happening.
Yeah. Well, imagine this. If you have a piece of equipment and you want a sensor in a part that has never been done before, which is deep, 20 feet in, whatever it is, impossible to get, we can help engineer and design that and build you that component that then can sensor it. So it gives us this weird niche in the market to just get to weird places that no one's been able to before.
Like I called you like 2 weeks ago and I'm like, hey, we've got a customer who wants to monitor this. And after 20 minutes of spitballing, it's like, yep, here we go. We've got a solution.
It's amazing.
So
it's actually
we
really
take
amazing.
that expertise that we've got on the mechanical side of things and on the, our experience with these machines and what they can do and some of the issues that they have, and then apply that technology to it. And it just works.
Before we wrap up, any other innovations we should touch on? Let the audience know about?
We talked about that VTL. We've also got a brand new lathe going up into our Gillette facility. It's actually being commissioned right now.
The biggest thing for the mining customers is like primary crusher shafts.
Yes.
You cannot do those in the States. You can, but they're on manual machines and the accuracy isn't great, or else you have to split them apart, or else you have to ship them out of the country. So now you can do it in one piece on the machine.
So these are like your cone crusher shaft?
That'd be, your primary cone crusher. So like 60 by 89. They're really heavy. I think they're 120,000
So
pounds.
you're the only game in
town.
The only game that is CNC. Some people can do it, but it's on old manual machines, a little wavy. CNC axis, drill the holes, make a beautiful
I like how you say it politely. It was like little wavies.